Awesome. In this video, we are going to be talking about something really fun. Well, maybe not so much fun, but important is going to be users management. So managing your users on your website, users inside of WordPress, and assigning appropriate permissions to each user, which will allow you to have a smooth operating website. Cue smooth operator. All right, just kidding. On side of your admin dashboard, on the left-hand side, you have this fancy little column down here saying users. You can go to all users. You can view users' names, the email address, their current role, how many posts are assigned to them, and a lot more information if you go into the view user itself. But what we're going to do is we're going to chat about the user roles and permissions first, so you have a good understanding of what that actually means to you. So first, the thing, we go to the WordPress.org documentation of user roles. Most websites will not have a super admin, but this is available to people who are using what's called a multi-site style website. It is a function that has multiple sites built into one website. So you can have multiple people managing different portions of a website without having to have individual websites for every single person. So as long as your website and websites use the same core software, then you can kind of share that same software code amongst many different users. But in this case here, most of you aren't going to use a super admin. Your highest level is going to be an administrator, or someone who has access to all of the administration features within a single site. Basically, what that means is this is the person who has access to mess up everything on your website. Anyone who has admin access can delete plugins, add plugins, edit settings, delete entire pages, like everything. So be very cautious on who you give this access to. Down from that is your editor role. So the editor is basically just like this is just one step below administrator. They can publish and manage posts and pages of other users, and including their own, but they don't have core settings, so they can't go in and manage the plugins or change the theme or do any of the main settings of your website. But they can pretty much do a majority of the day-to-day stuff. They can go in and add a new post, they can update a post, they can modify, delete, change, all of those kind of things, and they have full access to do so. Down from an editor is an author, which obviously kind of makes sense with this little hierarchy here. And that's somebody who can publish and manage their own posts. So they can't modify anybody else's posts. They can only basically manage their own. So they can go in, they can create a draft, they can publish that draft, they can do everything that is attached to their username, but nothing else. Down from that is a contributor, and this is someone, so if you have, let's say you're a publishing company, you're going to have a lot of editors that are staff. You're going to have some authors that are staff, and you're going to have a lot of contributors that might be freelancers, or you might have them write an article for one time or something like that. And these would be perfect people to fit in the contributor section. So this is somebody who can write and manage their own posts, but cannot publish them. So that's basically your approval process, right? So a contributor goes in, they create the draft, they say, hey, I've gone into the website and created a draft post. Now your editor comes in, reviews that post, and says, yep, this is ready to publish. They can, and then the editor is able to then publish that story, or your administrator, depending on your permissions levels there. And then that basically gives you a good opportunity to be able to add people so that they can help you drive content without giving them full keys to the kingdom and allow them to do anything that they want. Followed by subscribers. So basically, they don't really have any role. They were able to create an account, and this is typically used for contributors who are no longer an active contributor. They just get bumped down to subscriber and they can manage their own profile, but they have no access to posts. They have no access to pages. They can't really do anything inside the admin area. So this is a great way to be able to adjust your permissions when someone's no longer with the company, but you still want to be able to have those older posts tied to that same user without them being able to go back and modify or edit anything. So that's a quick run through. I'll drop this link here in the description of this video so you can go through and read in more in depth, because as you scroll, it'll actually give you the specific things that each one of these users can do. But right now, this is a good example or description of each one of the user roles as you can go through this process. So now that we've covered what the roles are and who should have what access, now we can go in and start creating new users. So inside of the admin dashboard, on the left-hand side is your sidebar. Then you go to users, all users, and then you can click add new user, or if you're already there, you can click add new user here. The things that are required are the username, which cannot be changed later. They can be using database manipulation, but let's just say for the purposes of this video, you can't change the username after it's been created. So if you name it, John, but that person's name, they don't want to go by John, well, now their login is tied to John. So make sure that you're setting it up appropriately. Nice thing is they can also use their email address to log in instead of the username, but the username is kind of locked where the email address can be updated later. So then you come in optionals, first and last name. These are great options to be able to add content. So when you're viewing content, I'll go ahead and show you here. So inside of our post, you can see the username is added, right? But if we come into, let's say this user, we'll edit and we come down and we'll say, well, this guy's name is Paul Stout, nickname, sure, display publicly, Paul Stout, and we'll scroll down, save. So now when we reload this page, you can see the name is fully popped up and it'll actually give you an author name. Now, inside of the user edit field, you can come down and give a little bio. I'm going to drop in some lorem ipsum in here real quick, and we will we'll show you what that looks like once it's all there. Sorry about that. In here, we'll just paste that in, scroll down, update profile. So now when we come in here, this is the author page, and you can see here's a bio. This is automatically generated by Gravatar, which you can actually go in and manage your photos inside of that system as well. And I'll drop a link in the description below. But you can see how important it is to be able to set these pages up. And as we get deeper into the more technical aspects of getting websites created using schema markup and all of that, these author pages are great to be able to say who is who, what posts are related to what author, and build an authority for each author that works with your organization. So let's go back into it. We'll go back in, add new user. So here, username we talked about, email, first and last name. Their website will pop up inside of this as well. So if they are a freelancer, or even if you just wanted to link them back to your website, feel free to enter that in there. Then this is their password, and you can send them an email that will have them reset their password as they go. And you get to define what the role of this new user is, whether it's a subscriber, contributor, author, editor, or a full admin user. Most people default to admin because they don't fully understand what the other roles can do. But generally, most people would be just fine with an editor role, and then they won't be able to mess up the website as much as if someone was given a full admin access. So keep that in mind as you go through. If you're onboarding a web developer, they're going to need admin access because they're going to need access to the theme. They're going to need access to the plugins. They're going to need to be able to create backups. And unfortunately, you can't do that as an editor. So make sure that you keep that in mind as you kind of define what these roles are. Once you add a user, you can actually go in and view their profile. And it looks just like the one that we were looking at here. You can disable the editor and disable syntax highlighting. You can even change your themes. So you can see here, change to blue, change it to coffee, midnight, ocean, sunrise, and you can kind of personalize your view according to who you are. And users will be able to log in and access this section of the website, even if they're a subscriber. But you can come down, you have access to be able to update. This is a very important little button here. So inside of your users, you're able to go in and set them a new password if they're, for whatever reason, unable to use the password reset function. Use that with care, obviously. And sessions are really cool and important things. So I could be logged in on this computer, which we're using to record, but this user might be logged in on my phone, on my tablet, whatever the case might be. And for security, you have this option here that you're basically like, okay, well, Paul lost his phone. Let's log him out of everywhere and force him to have to log back in. Because the sessions, even if we were to close all of these tabs and reopen them, my session is still here. So if we come right back, you can see I'm still logged in as the admin. So that's a huge security concern for a majority of people. So unless you have another system like the Fortress module by Snicko, I think is how he pronounces it, Calvin Atkin, developed a system where he'll actually sets it up for real two-factor authentication. He encrypts the password. It's an awesome platform, and we'll do some videos on that as well. But this one here just covers kind of the basics that are default. This video, sorry, and then you can basically kick everybody out as you go. And that way you're logged out of all of those sessions. So that way, if there was a security breach or someone picked up the phone or sat down at a library computer that you were logged into, they're not going to have access to log in as you, especially if you're an admin user. That would be awful. And then just click the update profile button. It's really as simple as that. If you do have any other questions or concerns about users, drop them in the comments below. But otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.